Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing my DiverseAthon Wrap Up. I managed to read 9 books during the DiverseAthon, which is insane. That's more than 1 book a day. But mostly half of them were comic books, so that's why. But yeah, so let's just jump right into it. So the first book that I read is We Should All Be Feminist by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This was a TED Talk that was published into a novel, and it was like 50 pages, but it was so interesting. I learned so much from it. I highlighted so many lines. I absolutely loved everything she had to say. I liked how she talked about how not only feminism in the world, but like, you know, and wherever, but she talked about it specifically where she lives, which is in Nigeria. So that was really interesting to see a perspective of that I had never seen before. And I really liked it, and I gave that 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I actually DNF'd like halfway through. I ended up giving it like a 2.5 or like a 3 stars. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, and that is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It just, I don't know, I wasn't really in the mood to read it. I've had it for a really long time and I've heard it recommended to me a lot, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't really like where the story was going, so I just stopped reading it. But yeah. The next book I actually listened to on audio because I did do a lot of driving during the week, and that is A Long Way Gone by Ishmael Bea. I did have to read this book for school last year, and I really liked it, but I did want to revisit it for the readathon since I did enjoy it. So I listened to it on audio, and it was just as good the second time around. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. His story is just incredible, and the fact that he survived something like that is crazy, and I loved hearing his story. So it's definitely a book that has stuck with me throughout like the past few years that I did read it, so I did really like it for the second time around. The next book I read, I actually have to show you. Oh, I forgot to mention that like a lot of the books I borrowed from the library, so I don't actually have them, or like they were ebooks or whatever. But the next book that I read was The Complete Persepolis by Margie Satrapi. This book is a comic actually of the Revolutionary War in Iran, and the author was actually a child during this time, so this is just her telling her story through comic strips, and I absolutely loved everything about it. It was really interesting. I learned a lot of things that I didn't know, which was like the whole point of the readathon, so that was really great, and I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. This was a letter written that the author wrote to his son about being a black man in America, and it was phenomenal. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was so interesting because I learned things that I could never know being white, like the struggles that black people face in America. Like obviously I know that they've struggled and all of the things that, like the horrible things that happened to them, but like this gave me a look into like what they face on a daily basis and the type of things that they go through that I could have never found out for myself being a white person. So that was really great. I absolutely love this, and if you haven't read this yet, I highly recommend it. Obviously I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It was phenomenal. Next thing that I read during the readathon was volumes 2 through 5 of the Miss Marvel comics. If you don't know, the Miss Marvel comics, Muslim representation in it. The main character is Muslim, so it's like her struggles between like being a superhero and like having to do, you know, the things with her family, like the religious things and stuff, and it was super great. I had never really read a lot of Marvel comics before, and I wasn't very lost with the storylines because I know a lot of storylines do overlap in comic books, but I had no problem following along. So the volume 2 I gave 4 out of 5 stars. Volume 3 I gave 4.25 out of 5 stars. Or volume 4 I gave 4 out of 5 stars, and volume 5 I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars. Yeah, the reason why they're like fluctuating between 4 and 4.5 is because most of the time the storyline like didn't really interest me. Like it was like interesting to keep reading, but like I wasn't super attached to it, so like it didn't matter if anything happened. But as it went on, they got better and better, and I started liking it more and more, so that's why it fluctuates a lot. Those are all the things that I read for DiverseAthon. Thank you to all the hosts for coming up with this idea. I thought it was great. I personally don't read a lot of diverse authors and books and, you know, whatever, but I'm really excited to start doing that, and I'm just so thankful that I had this opportunity to do it and, like, you know, shed some light on the people and the things that need to be, you know, the issues that we're having. So yeah, if you guys participated in DiverseAthon, I'd love to see what you read or talk to you about it, so definitely leave a comment down below if you did participate, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye!